Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through the results of running the repeated measures ANOVA. So we've got your first table that you're going to get is just telling you, excuse me, the stick, the testicle, the eye, and the witchetty grub. Second table that you get is your descriptives, all right? And this is telling you the stick insect took the longest time for the person to throw up, followed by the witchetty grub, and then the thing that made the people throw up the fastest was the fish eyeball. So we're always going to come back to your descriptives because this is ultimately what you're going to be talking about. Okay, we're going to scroll down here and you're going to get what's known as a multivariate test. I'm going to come back to this here in a moment. But the next thing you want to look at is what's known as your Markle's test of sphericity. All right, so we talked a little bit about that. This significance value you want to be greater than 0.05, and in this case, it's not. All right, so we have to look at the greenhouse geyser or the Hewn felt. Greenhouse geyser is more conservative. Hewn felt is less conservative. So I just want you to keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to scroll down here and the test of within subjects. So because our Markle's test was less than 0.05, we are going to interpret either the greenhouse geyser or the Hewn felt. So what are we interpreting? We are interpreting this significance value right over here. So you'll notice that if I use the sphericity was assumed, so if this significance value was greater than 0.05, we would just interpret sphericity assumed. Since it is not, we can neither interpret the greenhouse geyser or the Hewn felt. So greenhouse geyser tells us there is not a significant difference in the times that it took for them to throw up. Hewn felt tells us there is a significant difference in the time that it took for them to throw up based on what they're eating. Okay, so we're going to go back all the way up here to your multivariate test. Andy talks a little bit about if your greenhouse geyser and your Hewn felt contradict each other. You can look at your multivariate test and you'll notice that this tells us that there is a significant difference. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at our data a little bit more closely. All right, so we scroll down. This is within subjects contrast, so level 1 versus level 2. So you think about level 1 is that which was coded at the lowest level. So the stick insect versus the let me go back up here. The stick insect versus the kangaroo testicle. All right, so if I go back here, that's significant. The testicle versus the fish eyeball, not significant. The fish eyeball versus the witchetty grub, not significant. I'm going to scroll back down a little bit more as I go down to these tested between subjects parameter estimates. Notice that each one of these parameter estimates are significant, indicating to us that there's a significant difference there in the throw up time. All right, and then your transformation correlation matrix is comparing stick insect and kangaroo testicle. So these are like the contrast. So if you remember doing contrast, so we are comparing stick insect and kangaroo testicle. This one we are comparing kangaroo testicle and fish eyeball, and this one we are comparing fish eyeball and witchetty grub. So level 1 versus level 2, level 2 versus level 3, and level 3 versus level 4. So that was if we had specific hypothesis statements about who was going to throw up the fastest based on the food that they're eating, you would do contrast or a transformation matrix. All right, I'm going to keep on scrolling down and I want you guys to look at your pairwise comparisons. So pairwise comparisons, 1 versus 2, stick insect versus testicle, significant difference in throw up time. 1 versus 3, stick insect versus the fish eyeball, if I'm correct, significant difference in the time that it took to throw up. And then 1 versus 4 is stick insect versus the witchetty grub, not significant difference. All right, and so you go, we've already done 2 and 1, 2 and 3. So not a significant difference between the testicle and the fish eyeball. Not a significant difference between the testicle and the witchetty grub. There is a significant difference between 1 and 3. Same thing we did here, 1 and 3. All right. So your pairwise comparisons are your post hoc analysis if you did not have very specific hypothesis statements. All right. So that is the basic of the output when it comes to answering a research question. Is there a significant difference in the time it took for a person to throw up given the food that they're consuming, and where were those differences?